So tonight it's your show, guys. It's your show. It's your opportunity to talk about your favorite moments from the 2022-23 season. I'll be also mentioning some of my favorites and some of my favorite moments with regards to this season. And I think it's going to be an interesting discussion, actually, when we start talking about everything and start thinking about everything that has happened this year. It's been a good season, I think, for South Africa, particularly in Test cricket. I'm not going to necessarily say in every single format. I'm going to be bringing up the stats, of course, when it comes to the different formats. And we'll be discussing each and every single thing that has happened this last season, some of the main performers that stood out during this international season. I'm going to try to be doing shows like this because obviously, it's off season now. There are a couple of things that we can also chat about regarding other cricket that's happening around the country. I'll read out a story that Aaron put up on the site about the county players that are going to be playing in different for different county teams this season. It's very good to know and put your finger on and keep your finger on what's happening with regards to South Africans all around the country. But before we get going, before we get started, there's a couple of things that I please like you guys to do. First and foremost, please subscribe to the channel. Please click that notification bell for all future videos. Don't forget to also like this video. Smash a like on this video. It's very important that you do so. And also comment and share. It's also important that you get involved there. What I also would like you guys to do is also download the latest issue of Cricket Fanatics magazine monthly. Every issue is 100% free, straight to your inbox every month. The link is on the screen as well as in the description. And also to help us grow and promote South African cricket, you can become a Patreon today. So please click on the link as well as in the description. And then also there's something that you guys can also help us with, and that's going to visit cricketfanaticsmag.com on a regular. We put up stories there on a regular basis that you guys can get involved with, that you guys can look at and give you some more insight into cricket in South Africa. So without further ado, let's get straight into today's video. Looking forward to discussing everything with you guys and discussing the season with you. A very good evening and welcome to Cricket Fanatics Magazine. This is your daily show. I'm your host, Khalid, and this is the show where we talk about all the major talking points in South African cricket. But particularly on this show, we're going to be talking about the international season 2022-2023. I've also put this link in the live chat that's pinned to the top of the live chat if you guys want to call in and have your say and have a conversation with me. Let's discuss different things that were cool, what happened this season, which performances stood out to you from an international perspective. I will be doing a couple of shows also on the domestic circuit, maybe some shows on the SA20 and reflecting back on that. Certain players that also should be maybe relooked at, etc., in the SA20, because being involved with it, etc., there's a lot of different things that happen that you might have missed, or that maybe you might not have known. And looking at the stats alone, maybe it tells a different story from outside of actually being at the grounds, etc. So there's a couple of things that actually happened. We know that the season in South Africa started on the 30th of September, but that's because of the Division 2 CSA T20 challenge. And then the season kind of kicked off from there. There's a couple of things that I want to probably do is I'm going to talk about it I'm not going to talk about it necessarily in chronological order. I'm going to talk about it in formats. I think that's a better way to look at it. Than for me to go into chronological order of every game that took place, etc. It was obviously one of the first major full seasons after COVID, actually, a complete season after COVID, where we've kind of tried to recover from COVID, etc. And we got into this point. Brandon Naidu says Aiden 2.0 is the big success to me. Excited to see him kick on. So let's have a look at some of the stats. There are some stats that I want to share with you guys, and I want to show you what has taken place. So with regards to test matches, this is what happened so far this season. So South Africa, obviously, in this season, had played Australia. It was a three-match series. They lost the series. It was one draw and two massive defeats, 6-wicket and an innings and 182-run defeat. And that kind of ended the era of of Boucher in a way, but I mean Boucher was before that, but I mean it kind of moved us on from that era. This was the first series that we had, I think, without Mark Boucher, and this was in Australia. And then came the new era. We had the new era with regards to Shukri Conrad taking over, and it was quite two dominant wins from South Africa's point of view. I covered these games. I went to Centurion, I went to Johannesburg to cover these games. So I got to see the whole rebuild and the whole new regimes kick off from the start of the season. So it was two convincing wins. And there were a couple of things that stood out from that series. I think that's, for me, probably is one of my favorite moments, was seeing Temba Bavuma overcome all the criticism that he was getting. And the test series was kind of the kickstart to all of that. I think that really cemented us, cemented him in the minds of everybody, getting that massive 100 that he got. So, who were the top scorers or the top run scorers in this particular season in ODI cricket? So, in Test cricket, with regards to batting, Temba Bavuma was at the top of the charts with regards to runs scored. 385 runs at an average of 42.77 with 100 and a 50, and a high score of 172, which I saw live at the Wanderers. So it was a fantastic performance, and it's good to see our captain actually recover from that pair that he got in Centurion, and then to go and score that massive score was a fantastic thing to see. Then Aiden Markram, only with two games, 4 innings, 276 runs at an average of 69, 100 and 150. I saw both of that in action. Obviously, this is the West Indies series. We had Dean Elgar with 5 matches in this particular time period, 175 runs at an average of 17 and only 150. It wasn't the best that we've seen from Dean Elgar. There was a lot of things that he did that wasn't necessarily, I feel, um, I wouldn't call it necessarily something that was in his DNA. The way he started to try and play more attacking and try to do scoop shots and go out to the same dismissals. Um, those are the type of things that we got to see, and it wasn't necessarily the best performances from Dean this season. And then we move on, and we've got Carl Verreynne was on this list, with 168 runs at an average of 33 with 250s. And then Tony DeZorzi on this list as well with two matches, 114 runs, an average of 28 and 150. I saw that live as well. And then Sarel Eerwe with 3 matches, 112 with an average of 22.40, no 50s, only 42 not out. Marco Janssen, 4 matches, 106 with a high score of 59, 150 obviously, only an average of 17.66, but 66, but considering every single thing that and when he's coming into the order, we have to take that into consideration and into context as well. Then we have Keshav Maharaj with 97, Heinrich Klaassen with 93, and then from the rest, it's not necessarily that important when you look at the rest of the run scorers. And then going on to the bowlers, I think they were the key to this particular season. They were the ones that stood out in the season. And Kagiso Rabada is at the top of the list with 5 matches, 23 wickets, um, an average of 21.04 and an economy rate of 3.79. So a very, very good season for Kagiso, regardless of the 3 matches that we lost to Australia. Then Andy Nokia, 4 matches, 13 wickets, average of 23.15, an economy of 3.24. What I enjoyed the most about Anik Nokia this season was the intensity that he bowled with consistently throughout the season. He bowled with good pace, consistent pace. What I like as well about Anik is that he's added more control to his bowling. That was a major factor for me as well. Is that he added more consistency into his bowling. He's a lot more control. His pace, he's keeping his pace around that 145 to 150 mark consistently. It's a lot of positives to take from that particular performances and from him as a bowler. And then we can look at some of the others. I mean, Gerald Coetzee is on this list with 9 wickets in 2 matches, only making his debut in the West Indies. I was lucky enough to see his debut. And what stood out to me is that average, 15.88 at an economy of 3.57. Gerald is looking like he's starting to really find himself and find a style of bowling and adding a little bit extra variations. I wouldn't say variations, it's more consistency for me, putting the ball on the spot consistently and actually hampering the batters, the West Indian batters particularly. And then we can move on from that and have a look at some of the others that are on this list as well. I think Marco Janssen is coming to his own with a bat and ball. We've got Simon Harmer on this list here. You can see with 5 wickets. Keshav Maharaj with 4. Um, Lungi Ngidi is on this list, even though he didn't play against the West Indies. Vian Mulder. And then the rest is there's no wickets between the rest of them. So overall in the Test series, I think it's something that's worthy to talk about, and we touched on it. Or actually, we didn't touch on it. We covered it quite a bit in our latest issue of the magazine. And I specifically picked Pavuma as the front cover because of his importance to this new era and the way we are taking things going forward with regards to our cricket in this format. So please subscribe to this magazine. It's 100% free, straight to your inbox every month. So looking at these performances overall, I think what was very encouraging to me is the change in attitude, and the culture seems to be quite decent in the camp. I mean, I watched them train at Centurion. I watched them train at the. I didn't get to see them train as much as at the Wanderers, but I got to see them a lot at Centurion, and they seem a lot more cohesive, having fun, getting along with each other, etc. So the test performances were brilliant this season. I think that I mean, from at least from the last test, I think from Shukri's perspective, I think he got what he wanted out of that series, and it's a good nod to the future when we're looking at the test arena. Moving on to the ODIs and what our record was in the ODIs, it is not very impressive necessarily. So in the season so far, we played India, and in India, um, we lost to India. We beat India in the first one with by 9 runs, and then we lost on the two on the trot by 7 wickets each. Very difficult performances from South Africa. Then we beat England in two and lost one. That was in South Africa, and that was ahead of. That was also the kickstart to the new regime. Shukri Conrad was at the helm for that England series, while Rob wasn't in the country, and we saw a very big change in the attitudes of these players. I think that the mentality, not only the mentality, but the approach to the game, that looked a lot more comfortable with themselves and with the style of cricket that they wanted to play. And it was very encouraging to see that. Then we moved on to the West Indies. Even though the first one was abandoned, we lost the first game, and then we recovered pretty well. I mean, um, winning the next game. Unfortunately, because of that rained out game, it was ended up being a draw, and yeah, that gave us, some of us as fans, we weren't 100% sure how we felt at that particular period, because we never necessarily saw all the performances that we wanted to see with regards to this team. There's still a bedding in period. There's still a time for them to get quite comfortable with regards to the season in ODI cricket. But then we did beat the West Indies quite convincing. I mean, the Netherlands quite convincingly to seal that that number 8 spot for now. That's half sealed. It all now depends on, as I said before, it depends on the standings right here. It depends on what happens in that game between Ireland and Bangladesh. We obviously need Bangladesh to win that series 3-0. And if that is the case, then South Africa qualify, or Bangladesh just need to beat Ireland at least once for us to qualify. So that's the situation with regards to the ODIs. Let's look at some of the top performers, particularly with the bat this season. Aiden Markram's right on top of the pile. In 9 matches, he scored, and this is considering, and this makes sense to what Brandon said in the live chat over here. Aiden 2.0. And as you can see, it is Aiden 2.0. 9 matches, 9 innings, of course, 440 runs at an average of 55, strike rate of 109, 1 century, 250s. Decent season for him in the white ball arena in the ODI setup. So he's starting to come into his own, I feel, now, to become that all format player that we were hoping that he could be. And that's a good thing to see that he's been doing that. Temba's second on the log, even though with all the criticism again that he's been getting, some people didn't even want to see him in white ball cricket at all. But then others also thought that he should be playing ODIs and Test cricket, and I agree with that. Um, 7 matches, 428 runs, a high score of 144, an average of 71.33, two hundreds this season so far and a 50. So very good return from our captain Timba. Then it's Heinrich Klaassen on the list with 8 innings only, 422 runs, not out of 119, an average of 70.33, and a strike rate of 128, 100 and 250s. Then we had David Miller on this list. We can start to obviously see who are our players that we can trust over a period of time. With 349 runs, 69.80, a strike rate of 123. Surprising that his strike rate is this low. And 450s, considering the way David Miller bats. Then this was a season for Rassie van der Dussen that saw him kind of fall off what we were used to seeing under the last regime. Played 7 matches, 232 runs, a high score of 111, an average of 33.14, and that's all he did. Is what and the strike rate is pretty low of 88.21 with 100. And Quentin de Kock, I mean, it hasn't been a great season and a great start for him necessarily. I mean, 8 matches in ODI cricket, 192, an average of 24, and a strike rate of 92, no 50s this season in the ODI format. So he is in very bad form when it comes to the ODI format currently. A high score of 48, of course. Reza Hendricks only played 3 matches, scored 129 runs and 250s in that period. Marco Jansen, look at his batting at that. His batting, the fact that he's on this batting list is crucial. 6 innings, 129 runs at average of 32.5. Janneman Malan's on this list because of Australia. 3 matches, 62 runs, average of 20, strike rate of 62. I think, sorry, I think this was India, was it not? I think it was India, sorry. Wayne Parnell, 6 matches, 56 runs, average of 18, and Tony Rizorzi with 2 matches at average of 24. So that's the batters with regards to that, with regards to how they've done so far this season. I see a comment over here from OOTRE. I don't know how to pronounce that. I'm not a Temba fan at all. He has no right to be in the ODI and T20 for me. He was 100% quota player for me, but he has adapted his game, so I will lay off him. I will accept him for now, says this commenter. Today, David Miller scored 31 of 16 balls in a match-winning knock. Brilliant. We will get to the IPL and look at that game as well. I'm glad that you made me aware of that, that took place. It's very difficult for me to watch the IPL at the moment. It's slap bang in the middle of when I have to break my fast, etc., especially the second innings. So it does make it difficult for me to cover it completely. Gaurav saying Temba again against England and Aiden against West Indies. Let's get into your favorites a little bit later when I'm finished with all of this. Let's look at the ODI bowlers. Who are the top bowlers this season? Sasanda Magala right on top of the list over there. In only 4 matches, he has 12 wickets at an average of 16.83 and an economy of 5.77. Then Lungi Ngidi is actually second on the list with 7 matches, 7 innings, 11 wickets, and the average is pretty high, 32.27, but the economy rate as well, 6.33. So he's been quite expensive, but he's also taken a lot of wickets. Marco Jansen is over here as well, 7 matches, 8 wickets. The average is also quite high, but the economy rate is decent. Went for quite a bit of runs, but he has been taking wickets as well. Andik Nokia, Mr. Consistency, 6 matches, 8 wickets, 31.37 at an economy rate of 5.47. And actually, Tabrei Shamsi is on this list with 6 matches, 6 innings, 8 wickets, 41 average and 7.25. He's actually our most expensive bowler with regards to economy rate on this list. And that seems to be the biggest problem with Tabrei Shamsi at the moment. It's just how much runs he's going for. And I'm sure he'll tighten that up, and I hope that he does. Bjorn Fortuyn's on this list as well with 4 matches, 6 wickets, 29.16 and 5.64 average. Gerald Coetzee is on this list with 5 wickets in 2 games, an average of 22 with an economy of 5.50. Aidan Markram's on this list, and with 5 wickets, average of 40 and 6 economy rate. The concern here is Rabada and Parnell, right at the bottom of this list with Keshav. But I mean, mainly KG and Wayne Parnell. We can see that the newer guys and the other guys that are maybe not considered regulars are the ones that have been consistent throughout this season, particularly when I'm talking about this particular season. So I'll get into your live chats now. Let's move on to the T20 arena. With regards to the T20 arena, these are the matches that we played during this period. South Africa lost to India and then beat India. And then we played no result against Zimbabwe. And then we beat the Bangladesh and we beat India. And then this is obviously during during the World Cup. These two matches, Bangladesh and India, of course. And then Pakistan, we lost. Then the Netherlands, we lost. That was during the World Cup. And then we lost to the West Indies as well in that series. So it wasn't a great performance. There hasn't been great performances from us with regards to the T20 arena. I think it's a format that we're still attempting to master and attempting to find our best balance to the side. When it comes to the top batters in this format, Gunnar Cox right on top with 382, high of 100, average of 47, 100, 350s. Harari Rousseau second, 309 runs, average of 38. The strike rate's ridiculous, 187.27 and 200s, no 50s. David Miller's third on the list with 272 runs, an average of 68, a high strike rate of 167, 100 and 150. Aiden Markram's also on this list with 219, average of 36, strike rate of 150, 150. Risa Hendricks is on this list with 3 matches, 172 runs, average of 57, 250s. Timba's also here, funnily enough, 7 matches, an average of 12 and 94.80, no 50s. Heinrich Klaasen is here with 5, 59, 14, 1.55, 0.26 is that strike rate. Stubbs was 6, 54, average of 13, strike rate of 110. So that's been our T20 performers with a batting. Sorry, it says bowling on top there. I meant to say batting. Then with the bowling, Anik Nokia is on the top of the list with 14 wickets at an economy of 13.4, average of 13.42 and 6.83. I think that's brilliant stats as a fast bowler in this format. He's really been consistent in the T20 format for South Africa. Then Lungi Ngidi with 7 matches for 11 wickets, average of 23.72 and an economy of 10.87. I'm worried about these economy rates actually on Lungi. That's the one thing that has been bothering me, but he's been taking wickets. So he's becoming more of a wicket taker in our white ball arena. Wayne Parnell, 10 matches, 10 innings. He's had the most amount of games out of all of the bowlers other than Aiden Markram. And 9 wickets. Average is very high and economy rate's quite high. Keshav Maharaj is on this list as well. 6, 7 wickets, 27.30. Kagiso Rabada's here with 9 matches, 5. An average of 64, though. He's been extremely expensive in this format as well. He's also only taking average, like you can see, the average is 64. So he's taking wickets. His gaps between wickets is ridiculous, ridiculously big. And then 10.03 is his economy rate. Tabray Shamsi, 4 matches, 5 wickets, 23, 9.66. Marco Janssen, only 1 game. Sisanda, 2 games, 3 wickets, 29.33 and 14.66. So that's the season so far, guys. Just to wrap up what has taken place, who are the top performers. Now let's get into what were some of our favorite performances this year and what you guys think are some of the best performances this year so far. So we've got Aruna saying today David Miller scored 31.16 balls. I read that earlier. Temba against England and Aiden against the West Indies says Goraf. That was his 2 best performances this season. Markram to score 100 says Aditya. I got to go and watch Chelsea versus Liverpool. See you guys. Yes, that's also a massive match that we're going to be obviously covering. I did not me covering, but we're going to be watching it. Hello, Khalid, bro. How are you? Just came here to meet you. Thanks, bro. I'm good. Thanks. Your thoughts on the academy squad? Okay, let's bring that out as well. Let's go. How are you, Khalid? Came here to meet you. I said, are you ready? Okay, Khalid, bye. Not replying. Have to go for some work. Said that I just came here to know how you're doing. Sorry, bro. I was busy reading out a lot of things. I'm not looking at. I can't see the live chat when I'm reading out things on the channel. Chelsea will get the job done tonight, says Tabo. Okay, let's get to my thoughts. Let's get the thoughts of that um, on the squad. Let's read it out for you guys so that we can actually go through them together. It was an interesting squad that was picked, I must say. Um, where is it now? I need to find it. Sure, I put it up here. Um, where is it? Here we go. So I'm gonna bring it up on the screen so that we can read it together. Oh, this is the county. This is the wrong one. No, 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 this is the wrong one. How did I how did I lose this this article? It's madness. Let me find it in the back end. Okay, let me find it here in the back end of the series. Let's open it up over here. I'm gonna share it with you guys so I can read it with you guys as well. Um, cool. Cool. So, Cricket South Africa has named the men and women's national academy squads for 2023 intake. The National Academy is run annually and forms an important part of the CSA high performance pipeline as it prepares players for professional cricket at the highest level. This is a brilliant thing that they're doing because we've been talking about preparing players for the national side. So this is very important to see that these type of things are happening. Players are selected in line with stringent performance criteria, including performing provincial players and previous graduates of the SA Under 19. The men's program will run from the 1st of May to the end of July 2023, whilst the women's program will run from the 1st of June and the end of July 2023. At CSA Center of Excellence, in addition to the 3-month camp, individual intervention, coaching, and monitoring visits are conducted at provincial level. Malibongwa Maketa will guide the men's squad with the post World Cup youngsters. Former S under 19 captain George van Heerden will be joined by teammates Deva Brevis, Matthew Post, Liam Alder, Andile Simalani, Valentine Katimi, Caleb Saleka, and Michael Copeland. The Women's Academy team to be under guidance of Danisha Devnarain, which includes S under 19 women's graduates and the World Cup stars Uluhle Sio, Jenna Evans, Ayanda Khlubi, and Rafilwe Muncho. CSA Performance Manager Vincent Barnes commented on the significance of the program. The CSA National Men and Women's Academy programs are an integral part of our cricket development pipeline. It is significantly important in achieving our long term strategy of not just producing professional players and strengthening the player base, but also to produce the future Proteas. The COVID-19 pandemic had a massive impact on our ability to roll out our high performance programs as needed over the past 3 years. But I'm looking forward to welcoming our exceptional cricket talent back to the CSA Center of Excellence, said Barnes. So this is the CSA Men's Academy squad. We've got Liam Alder, Matthew Post, Deva Previs, Ukule Stlele, Michael Copeland, Jordan Herman, Dwan Jansen, Valentin Katime, Andile Mohokhane, Bihlali Pampungwana, Sia Plaiki, Josh Richards, Caleb Saleke, Andile Semalani, Musa Twala, Mitchell van Buren, Neelan van Heerden, and George van Heerden. So I think it's a very good team. A lot of these players, I feel, are players that are on the brink. These are also guys that weren't necessarily selected for um, for other teams, but there are a couple of names maybe that we can say that maybe miss out here, but they probably do know a lot about who's available. I mean, this has also had to do with, I think, people going to play. This has also got to do with people going to play in England. I think that would have also made would have made an impact on this as well. Who's going to play club cricket in England? Like I know, for example, Matthew Bretsky will be playing in England, as he told us on this channel. But I think it's a very decent squad, actually. And I'm happy that guys like Matthew Bose, Deva Previs, Jordan Herman, for example, Dwan Janssen. Um, these guys are on this list, and also doing that they've been picked for this academy, men's academy side. Um, with regards to the women, we can see Andri Stein on here, and Sangase. We've got Banetti, who I've seen live. She's a brilliant bowler. Um, Notsosake, Winster, De Ridder, Macheke, Andrews, Annelie Dirksen, Jones, Sio, which I mentioned at the top, Oluchle, which was the captain of the under 19 team, Asaka, Nyovane, Jenna Evans, Elise Marie Marks, Ayanda Glube, and Rafilwe Moncho as well on here. So also a very talented team, um, and also a lot of young talent in this team. So that's the squads that was announced. I'm happy about the National Academy team. I'm not really very upset about who was picked, etc. I think I'm quite comfortable with that. Um, Deoval Brevis is included in the academy squad, says Aruna. My favorite innings was Markram's test century against West Indies at Centurion, his first since 2021. Um, Guys, does anyone think Mulder has been working on his batting? Do they think he could work this way in batting, maybe at three for ODI, or am I wrong? I think he has. Um, he has definitely been working on his batting, but I don't think he's ready to bat at number three. I think that number five slot, maybe even as a seven in Test cricket, dependable on what format. He's batting. I know he was batting at five sometimes for the Lions, so it's going to be very interesting to see how they go when they go forward. George van Heerden also included. Dwan Janssen, yes, I read out the list. They don't like Ethan Bosch, but you can see he has potential. I think they have other plans for maybe for Ethan Bosch. She says sabotaging Ethan's career. I don't necessarily think so. I think it would be a good idea to maybe get Ethan on the show and get his point of view on what he thinks. Holiday market landed in India. That's brilliant. Take taken the most wickets against Netherlands at a very good economy during invitational match, says Aruna. Aditya Singh, Khalid will Rasif van der Dussen come into T20s again. At this rate and this moment, I don't think so. So let's look at the county championship and what's going to be happening in the county championship. So Aaron did a little story for us. I want you to read it. But these are the guys that are South African but playing in the league. Now, Luis Deploy is actually has actually opened himself up to play for England. So I don't know if we can really add him to this list, but he's still South African. So Luis Deploy is going to play for Derbyshire, Binningham for Durham, Simon Harmer for Essex, Colin Ingram for Glamorgan, Kyle Abbott for Hampshire, George Linder for Kent, Dane Vias for Lancashire, Vian Mulder for Leicestershire, uh, Peter Malan for Middlesex, Dane Patterson for Nottinghamshire. So guys can go read this. It's quite in depth, as you can see. I'm not going to read this all out to you. I might maybe bore you if I'm going to read it out all year. So go read this article on cricketfanaticsmag.com. It gives a nice in-depth analysis. Aaron did this one. I'm still waiting for Aaron to come join us on the show again. We missed him. We haven't seen him in a very long time. So yeah, that's basically the summary of that and what's going to be happening going forward. Um, there's also IPL happening, as we know, and we saw Faf score an amazing innings for Royal Challengers Bangalore. Very entertaining knock as an opener for that team. Um, I do believe that he stands a chance maybe to actually make a team um, to make the team in the T20 arena. Maybe not ODIs, but I think in T20 there could be a shot for him to come back into the squad, into the side if he continues the form that he's currently playing with. With regards to the other South African involved, as someone already mentioned on the show in the live chat, um, David Miller today played a match-winning knock. So the Delhi Capitals scored 162 for 8. And the reply from the Gujarat Titans was 163 for 4 in 18.1 overs. And David Miller was pivotal in this particular match. 31 runs, 16 balls, 2 fours and 2 sixes at the strike rate of 193. So he's showing his ability to come in when he does and to win games for his team. Ryder Rousseau got a duck today, just to give you guys another update. So my points about him being very inconsistent and not necessarily converting and scoring massive runs consistently, it's starting to look a little bit true. But David Miller coming in at 6, showing that finishing ability, scoring 31 of 16. Brilliant to see that. Anik Nokia was a bowl today. He had 4 overs, 2 for 39 in 9.75 with a 9.75 economy rate. So he was the top wicket taker for his team. Um, so he's taking wickets once again in this format. Very good to see that. So all in all, I think that's the summary of what happened today. Let's get into some of the um, yeah, that's basically all we can say. Let's get into some more of this comments that you guys have been saying. Taking most wickets. Okay, Khalid, Rasi, okay, I've answered that. Lichle saying, looks like George van Heeren has been offered a contract by the Rocks. Very interesting if that's true. I'm going to be doing a summary of all the signings a little bit as they come out a little later, where I can get a full summary and talk about each individual one from each team, and then we can go into depth talking about it. How should they pick Brevis against Australia? I do think personally, I would go with someone like, I've always wanted to see Dewald being eased into the T20 setup because I think that he should be our future number 3 in the T20 arena. I think he has the mentality, and I think yes, there's still some things in his game that he can learn, and he's still developing. But the IPL experiences that he's been having, the SA20 experience off the field, particularly, I think rubbing shoulders with all these legends would have taught him a hell of a lot, and it's very valuable to his game and to his future. So I do think that if you bring him into this kind of team with the T20 setup as it is and the squad that there is, there's a lot of experienced guys in this team that he can brush shoulders with. The likes of David Miller, the likes of Andy Klaassen, even the likes of Quinny, the likes of Riza Hendricks. There's all these guys, even Riley Rousseau. That's someone that he can maybe learn from too. Although I think that the potential and the roof for Deva Brevis is much higher than someone like Riley, in my opinion. Um, so I do think that that Dewald should be eased into the T20 setup. It would be a very good experience for him in Australia. It depends now, obviously, on what's happening with regards to other things that he's maybe doing. We do know he's part of the academies, the academy side during that period in June. So it's going to be May to June. So it's going to be very interesting to see what they do with the players there and how he develops after that. Harley Tristan Stubbs replaced David Miller because he's getting old. I mean, that's that's what they're doing with Tristan Stubbs at the moment. I think they should do the same with David. I mean, with Devot, he should be the one in line to take over from Riley Rousseau when they decide they finished with him. Maybe even see Devot play some games as well, because I think that he has that X factor and ability in the T20 arena that I really, really like. Harley just joined, been busy with school, but I am happy with this season, especially considering we have youngsters' opportunities and the lessons we learned are crucial in a long-term plan. I think that's the main thing for me, is that we can see a plan for the future. This academy team that they picked is a nod towards that, because we can kind of see where their minds are with certain players and who's in the list to be the next generation of Proteas. I'm very excited. I like the talent that's coming through in South African cricket currently, and I think this is an excellent initiative to try and hone these players' skills and try to find a good mentality for them. Sad to see Faye Tanikov move to England. I've always felt that she had unfinished business with the Proteas. Yeah, it is quite sad what has happened there as well. I'm a big fan of Faye, and it's unfortunate that's taken place. And the coaching change, which seems to be steady for the future of the national team, was also a good highlight. Yes, that's a very good highlight. Particularly, yeah, because the coaches are involved with the selections. That's so cool. I think that's something refreshing, and I think that the coaches actually have their fingers on the pulse when it comes to these different things. They are fully aware of everything. Khalid, what is that academy side? Read the article. Khalid, what is the academy side? Read the article earlier. Read the article earlier. So yeah, they basically put up a little camp where they're going to learn different skills. They're going to learn certain things going forward. I mentioned it. I read it out a little bit earlier on the show. You can actually rewind back and go watch it if you want to if you want to see me do that. But basically, in summary, they've set up a camp that's going to help these players actually develop and learn skills and own their skills, and they're going to get plans and stuff to improve them, um, to get them ready for international cricket, which is brilliant. Well, do you have a previous interest in Stubbs' performances in IPL could decide their selection in Proteas? I don't think holistically, no. I don't think categorically, no. But I do think it will help them. It will aid them to be selected. Um, I think it will put them one step closer to being more, getting more opportunities. But I think that Rob made it very clear that the way he's going to approach it, these players are kind of going to be backups to the seniors, and then got get on chances here and there when the opportunity arises. I'll be interested to see what CSA does to invest in the women's game after the World Cup success. Yeah, it's going to be very interesting to see how they do that and how much money they're going to be pumping back into the women's game. Western Province and the Lions dominated again. So those are the two best teams in the country currently. The Lions are the ones that pay their players. Western Province have a lot of Proteas, and a lot of young talent and a good support structure. Strength and conditioning coach is brilliant. We got Clay over there that has a lot of experience and does a great job. So they've got a good structure, a good chemistry, and a good team cohesion in that Western Province team. Oh, that's brilliant. I hope that we can have 1 or 2 before the World Cup. Yeah, let's see what happens with regards to. Um, you wish they could have 1, 2 before the World Cup. Okay. Um, the Australia series happens. So I think that's where things get a bit tricky with regards to having another one. But I mean, um, yeah, it would be nice to see more of them. You're 100% correct. And Aiden's return to form has also been a highlight of the season. So a lot of you guys have actually picked the similar highlights of the season. So it's good to see that you guys are that we're all aligned with regards to that. So yeah, and the SA20 for me is also quite a big highlight for the season as well. But guys, thanks a lot for tuning in. I hope you guys enjoyed this episode. Don't forget to smash the like button, comment, share, and subscribe, and click that notification bell for all future videos. Don't forget to smash the like button and also download the latest issue of Cricket Fanatics magazine monthly. Every issue is 100% free, straight to your inbox every month. The link is on the screen as well as in the description. Become a patron today to help us grow and promote South African cricket. Link is on the screen as well as in the description. And then go to cricketfanaticsmag.com to read our county piece, to go read that story about the academy, the National Academy, and other pieces that we put up on the site as well. Please support us, guys, as much as you can. That's the way we can do more. That's how we can do more videos. We're on the path and on the road to 4,000 subscribers. I think we're only like 90 away from 4,000. So please get your friends and family that are cricket fans that want to come and have conversations about cricket to join our channel and subscribe. It really will do us. It will do great things for us. It will help us out a hell of a lot if you can do so. So please get involved with that. Without further ado, guys, I hope you guys enjoyed this episode, and I'll see you again tomorrow with another daily show. It will be earlier show tomorrow. I will do it before I break my fast, of course. So we'll do it around about 5:30, and I hope you guys can join then for that particular show. I'm trying to look for maybe someone that we can interview and bring on the show to discuss their season or something. So I would like to also see maybe some suggestions in the live chat. I mean, in the comment section afterwards, of maybe who are some of the guys you'd like to see me interview on the channel over the next week. So thanks a lot for watching, everybody, and I'll see you guys very, very soon. Peace out.